I appreciate all of you joining me. Today's session and what I want to talk about today is pretty simple. I mean, the question becomes, have you ever gotten a client, sold an account, sold a project, done something where your perspective was it was going to kind of be this much work and it ended up being way more work, consuming your time, consuming your life in the end, and really wasn't profitable for what you put in. And that means, long-term ROI. This equation for me, oh gosh, it changed my life. I mean, changed my life. Back in 2006 is when I created this equation, and I've literally used it for every single customer since then. Just to give you a quick background story, because I know you're not necessarily here to, listen to me talk about my backstory, but the reality is, in 2006, I had a brokerage company, and we attained Chrysler as a client. And if there's anyone from Chrysler on this call, I apologize, but this is the reality of the situation. So we attained Chrysler as a client, and the mandate from Chrysler, right? The first part of the equation that we talk about is right here, which is your customer objectives. The CO of the first part of the equation, the customer objective that Chrysler had was like every 2 hours an update, got to be on time, right? JIT product that, I mean, anyone who's in automotive knows the intensity behind the scenes, especially ages ago. Well, it feels like ages ago when it comes to automotive. And our company wasn't necessarily set up for it, but we wanted to get into automotive. We said, okay, so how do we make this work? So I said, you know what? I'll head it up. Let's do it. So it was literally pretty close to 3 months, pretty much every night. I'm going to say minimum of 5, 6 days a week, where every 2 hours I'm up and I'm updating, because at that point the satellite wasn't able to connect. There wasn't the technology that we have today to deliver the reports on the trucks. Now, it was on our assets. It was on Transcend Freight Systems assets. But I was up every 2 hours just kind of checking the truck, plugging it in, checking the truck, plugging it in. And, after about 3 months, it was about 4 days before Christmas, and my wife came into the bathroom and found me curled up on the floor in the fetal position, crying, being rushed to the hospital, and realizing I had about like 1 3/4 to 1.8 lungs filled with pneumonia. I mean, I was sick, but I was just running with this. We need to get this account. This is like the next level, the future of the business, right? And it's funny because when I got better, and when I after Christmas, I went into the office and I ran a report. And for the 3 months pretty close to that we were doing it, I think it was something like $4,800 profit. So I literally got myself completely sick, almost to the point of no return. Like, when I say I was pretty close to death, I mean, I felt like I was pretty close to death here. And I realized, really, for 5 grand, GP, like 5 grand, really? That's all we did in this entire time for all this work, for all of that. So that's where this equation started to come into play. So I want to dive right in because I don't want to take up too much of your time on a Friday afternoon. So what we're looking at is our customers' objectives. Now, the customer objectives, obviously, in this context, could be goals, mandates, whatever it is. But the customer objectives always must be less than, and I'll give you the equation, then I'll spell it out. L plus P plus PG plus TVSO plus LTR ROI. And you say, holy crap, Dan, are you kidding me? What kind of equation is that? Okay, so here's where the equation really starts creating a massive impact for you. So the customer objectives, they have to be less than, the first L is the lifestyle change. And so we'll flip over. So lifestyle. And what do I mean by lifestyle? Okay, so let's think about this for just a second, and let's look at this from a real legitimate perspective. You ever got an account and all of a sudden you realize like you're on the phone all night. You don't have your weekends because loads are running and you're trying to catch up. Now, what I'm saying is, if that impact is on your lifestyle in order to achieve the customer objectives, in the end, it's got to be a long-term ROI for it. So this is where we're balancing what is more important, that customer objective, because the reality is you sell an account, and if the customer says, okay, here's what I need, A, B, C, D, and you say price is $2,000 to make that happen, you better produce A, B, C, D. The reality is you agreed to produce A, B, C, D with your price, right? So how many times, and if you have, be honest with yourself. I know I have many times where I've said, Mr. Customer, it's $3,000, thinking, oh, I got to get the load. I got to get the load. I want to get the load because I was in that, I got to get the sales mindset instead of how do I help the customer achieve their goal mindset. So in that sales mindset, I'm like, I got to get that. I got to get that. Then what happens is, what? The load comes in, and you're like, you know what? The amount of friggin' work this is BS, man. I should have charged $3,500 instead of $3,000, right? But if you're very specific and when you work through the sales process and the sales cycle, and okay, Mr. Customer, these are the parameters, and I'm talking knowing the parameters. I mean, listen, we've all been there where parameters have come up that are different from what we thought, but knowing the parameters, what is the cost? And you have to produce the customer objectives, goals, desires, mandates, whatever it is. So, how does that impact your lifestyle? And we'll switch back there. Sorry about that. So, how does that impact your lifestyle? The second one, of course, is profitability. So, impact on the lifestyle versus profit. So, if it's a very high profit, very short impact on lifestyle, it's probably worth it. Okay. If it's a very massive impact on lifestyle and very low profit, weigh those two out and figure out to yourself, okay, is this worth it? Now, the next one in line, I mean, profit's a pretty simple one for all of you involved. Next one in line is personal and professional growth. So, personal and professional growth. Okay. So, what I mean by that is, does this project one help me get better? Is there any kind of long-term development for me? And what I mean by that is, some projects, like I've had some projects where you're moving museums and you really learn a lot. And you can take that education and you can implement it in different areas of your business. I remember back in the day when I used to work with North American Van Lines, they had some pretty cool stuff they were moving, and I got to learn a ton. I mean, I got to be part of moving like King Tut's exhibit and some pretty cool things. I had a friend of mine, the first company I was at in logistics, where he got to actually go and like watch Bombardier stuff and Textron helicopters get loaded on the Antonov. Like, to be part of something like that where you get personal growth and professional growth. I mean, imagine that you going and you being able to take pictures of product you're moving being loaded on the Antonov plane, right, on the ground level, standing in front of it, and using those pictures to share with other prospects that you're trying to move forward. And hey, look what I just did. Look what I just did. I think I could help you, right? So think of that when it comes to that personal and professional growth part of it. How much of an impact does it have on your personal and professional growth? Right? If it's very high impact on your lifestyle, very low profitability, and no impact on your personal and professional growth, might not be a really good business decision to move forward with that customer. Now, some of you out there might be going, Dan, are you crazy? This time and age, I want every customer I can get. I get that. I'm going to challenge you here because I really, really think you need to hear this. If this is the mindset, I understand that. But the next one that we're going to talk about is really going to put that into play. And the next one here is time spent. So time on this particular opportunity or versus time spent on new opportunities. So when you talk about that personal growth, and let's just keep using the same example, right? Huge impact on lifestyle, low impact on profitability, pretty much nil to none to very minimal personal or professional growth. And then the time that you can spend on that, right? So let's move this back to, um, probably an example most of you have experienced. Customer's objective, they got a big project. There's a bunch of different brokers and carriers bidding on the project. You know it's going to be a ton of work for 3 months getting this project in, like a ton of trucks. It's a low profitability, but it's going to have, you're getting a project done. So it's got minimal impact on your personal and professional growth. It's a project, it's on time deliveries. That lifestyle that you're going to have decreased lifestyle because you're doing it day and night. Maybe you don't have an ops team, or maybe you do, but it's the lifestyle of your ops team. And then you come to the time versus new opportunity, and you say to yourself, well, you know what? I'm going to make a couple of grand on this new opportunity. But if I were to spend the 4 hours a day I'm going to spend looking for trucks because the customer doesn't want to really pay much for that project, can I spend that 4 hours a day investing in finding a better customer? And for anyone out there that's watching this that is an actual customer, I apologize, but let's face it, if we're trying to, tread the bottom and skin our bellies on the bottom to try and get the cheapest freight possible, I'm sorry, people deserve better if they can provide a value and a service that's better than that. So it's a two-way street as well, right? Let's go back into the front. When I started with this, you go in, you say my price is 2 grand just to lowball it to get the business, and then 2 grand isn't profitable for you enough for the thing. Well, too bad. Suck it up. You made that decision to be a weasel and lowball the account and lowball the business. Like, it's just what it is. Face facts. I remember Kid Rock's. I love Kid Rock, and he, in one of his songs, he goes, like, I chose this life, so I'm not going to complain. Now, he didn't quite say it in those words. He said it in different words, but that's the reality. So when we choose to align ourselves with our customers' objectives, we choose all of these pieces of the equation in line. Whether you choose to lowball, then deal with it, but don't complain. So back to this, because I want to get through the last one, and then we'll kind of run this off so you guys can hopefully implement this in your daily routine today. So this is long term relationship return on investment. So what's the long-term relationship return on investment for having all of this being impacted? Good, bad. Now, here's the equation I want you to look at. This is based on 50 points. Each section, and I'll change the color here just for y'all. So each section is 10 points. My suggestion is anything 60 to 70 is okay. 80 and up is awesome. And what you do is you look at it and you say, okay, the customer objective equals X. Now, the customer objective equals X. This part of X for my lifestyle. So when I look at my lifestyle, it's really going to be impacted for that. So I'm going to say it's going to be a probably 3 on my lifestyle. 1 being low, right? 1 being low, 10 being, yeah, this is awesome, right? So it's going to be a 3. It's really going to impact my lifestyle over the next couple of months. Now, from a profitability perspective, that's going to be a 5 because it's going to generate some pretty good profit. I mean, it is going to suck up a lot of my time. So the overall profitability is going to be pretty high. My long-term growth, for both personal and professional, that's going to be probably a 6 because, I mean, I got most of what I'm doing in this, but there is still going to be opportunity for me to learn, grow, learn from shippers, receivers, learn some new stuff. The time versus the new opportunity, that's actually going to be probably a 3 again, because it's going to be a lot of time to book the trucks. I could probably be spent on a new opportunity, but you know what? The long-term relationship is a 10 because this project is going to catapult me into the next level with that particular customer, right? So now as you sit, you got 22, 25, 27. So you're 27 out of 50. So you're in that 60 to 70%, you're just about there. So that's when you would say to yourself, okay, if I'm 27 points out of 60, and I did that right, didn't I? 6? Yeah. So 27 points out of 60, out of 50, sorry. You're sitting there going, okay, I'm probably just around that 60%. Do I need to reevaluate any of this? Can I maybe go back when it comes to profitability? Can I maybe go back and adjust it when it comes to lifestyle and increase this one up? Because in the end, that long-term ROI is there, right? So then that decision becomes more of a personal decision. Um, and you say to yourself, okay, so let's review this again. My lifestyle, yeah, it's going to be an impact on my lifestyle. It was a 3. But if I move this piece of the puzzle and move this piece of the puzzle, can I get that up to a 6 or a 7? Because if I can, that puts me right in that, like, over that 70% mark, and it makes it worth it for me. That's very feasible. And how do you do that? Well, maybe you go to your supplier and you create a deal with the partnership to say, okay, we'll do kind of a 50-50 split. I need X amount at X time. I need this. And it's more of a transition, meaning information comes in, information goes out. What about the profit? Okay, if the profit's a 5 and I really want that profit, even though there's a really good long-term relationship, like the ability to create something that's really going to benefit every party long term. You know what? I like that. I do. I'll keep the profit at 5. When it comes to personal and professional growth, it's a 6. Maybe that's not going to change. How do I change that time that I'm spending versus a new opportunity? How do I create more time out of something that's not there? Right. So, what this equation does and what it's done for me for the last, gosh, 15, 16 years now, is it really helps me think strategically through the entire project or the customer's business. If I can justify all of this, just think about this very clearly for 1 minute, and you'll get that. Yeah, no, that's right. I understand this. So when you are working on weekends, there won't be that animosity. There won't be that back end. God, this is BS. This is shit. I can't, I forget about it, because you say, okay, listen, no, I understand that. You've worked through every section that's going to create the equation for you to understand the account at a much deeper level, understand what the ROI is, what the benefits, what the pros, cons, what you have to invest in order to become the best person you could be to complete the customer objectives. Again, when we look at this, and every time we look at this is what you're agreeing to. So if you can't, it's time to move on. Don't do it. Do everyone in our industry a favor, and don't ruin the names of the good people because you can't complete the client objectives. All right. So I hope this helped. If you'd like a copy of this framework, actually, I've got a copy like this. Just email me or PM me, depending on where you're watching this, because this is being broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you'd like a copy, by all means, I'd love to send it to you. You can get a hold of me at info@dandeegan, DANDEIGAN.com, or you can PM me. I'll send you a copy, no ifs, ands, or buts. This is actually half of a day in my 28-day high-performance sales challenge. So if this resonated with you, I know the 28-day high-performance sales challenge is going to be killer for you. It's going to rock you. So if that interests you, by all means, the registration link's below. Go check out the page. Check out the over $1,700 in value I'm giving away for a $97 28-day challenge. Hey, it's up to you. You want to join? Join. If not, I hope this equation served you. Until next time, my friends, remember, go out there, make every call educational, and crush your sales. Take care.